Harsha, lots of like this scramble happening at the points table. We'll have a look at the table, but everyone wants to get to those 10. There are 3 teams that have 8 points. So this is a very crucial game for both Lucknow and Punjab to reach that number 10.
And see what is separating them. It is decimals that are separating them. And I won't be surprised if we get into the last week of the playoffs and it's still decimals separating them. Because look at the teams at the bottom. At some point, Hyderabad's going to win a couple more games. Delhi's won 2 on the trot. KKR came back and produced a near perfect performance the other night. So there's going to be a few more upsets coming up.
But you think even with 7, 8, 9, 10, you feel that it would be a surprise even with them?
No, they could upset. Their chances of qualifying are looking bleak. But they could still upset a few teams. Now look at Kolkata. They were 2-5 at the end of in IPL 22.
Yes.
No, in IPL 21.
21
in IPL 21,
and 114 also.
At the halfway point, they were 2-5. And they made the final after going to the UAE. And then now 3-4. Mumbai would say, we are 3-4. I think this is still wide open. The top 2 or 3 are looking very good because different people are winning matches for them. So they're looking better teams.
But for me, one thing which I've not understood is Lucknow has gone this close and then lost the game, because even their last game against Punjab, there was Raza who got that 50, and then there was Shah Rukh who got the 23, who got them past the finish line. But there are games that Lucknow just should have won and they haven't.
Yeah, in the game against Punjab where Raza gets the runs, it's sort of, I think they're kind of being bailed out essentially, not because they should have got more runs. So in that one, I don't think you feel so bad about losing that one. Yes, they could have done it differently. It's a game where essentially they kind of pulled themselves back pretty much from the brink, and everyone expected they should lose it. But in the next one, the game they should have won and were winning for all intents and purposes, and then go down and skipper says, I don't know what happened, and those are the ones that are going to do damage in the change room, because those are games you should be winning. And this is not stuff that's happened to KL for the first time. In fact, when he was in the opposing colours,
yes,
similar sort of games would happen, and you'd wonder what's happened with these guys. How can you do that? How do you get to a super over and lose the super when you were winning all along? And you will remember, games that have happened in that way. So they've got to get back on track really quickly. They're speaking about net run rate. Use the power play. Don't stop going. Just keep going at it, because at the end of this round robin, and I want to say this, we say so often, oh, these ones are out of contention. We should never say that too early, because I don't think, maybe last year was one, but no other year where we can kind of cancel aside towards halfway or just over halfway in the tournament. They'll still have something to say towards the back end, I think.
Yeah, and it's interesting that Rahul says, I don't know where we lost it. He knows where they lost it. Either that or when you don't know something, is it because you can't see it? We see things that are outside us. We don't always see things that are inside us, but we know they exist. And I think if he says we don't know, it's because he's not looking inside him. And that was one game where he had the opportunity to prove everybody wrong, because he started the power play really well. He kept going. But just try and see the number of matches in this tournament where the strike rate plummets in 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, that area where there seems to be some kind of comfort zone. 7 and 8 are low scoring overs. And that is where the scoring rate decline started. We saw one other game where Delhi just crept across.
Against Kolkata, it was.
Delhi,
yes.
Kolkata. When you're chasing these 130, 140 games, you start to think, yeah, I'm there. Doesn't matter. Next thing you know, it's gone up to 9-0 and you're suddenly wondering where you're going to get them from. So you've got to stay slightly ahead. I'd love to see that old Rahul. Sometimes I think Rahul doesn't know himself.
You spoke about you need to find those players who can win you the games, which, hasn't gone Lucknow's way. I can't be the only one asking all the questions, because we have a lot of lovely viewers who write in and give us a lot of questions to ask. So we have a question from Manav Singh on Ask Cricket Buzz Live. He says, did KL Rahul leave too much for the last over against Gujarat, as they needed 38 of 42 balls at one point? Is he the only one to be blamed for the loss? Harsha sir, Pommy sir,
Manav is a man of impeccable breeding.
your take on this? We touched upon this a little bit.
You never
but
pick on one person alone because T20 is the closest in our sport that you get to a team game. So you never pick on one person alone. It's just that when one person is perfectly placed to finish a game, then it's that person's job to then go and finish a game. I mean, Pommy and me were watching football the other day. If there's a striker, he's on one-on-one with the goalkeeper, he misses, you say, yeah, the striker missed, but you didn't lose the game only because of the striker. So in this case, yes, KL Rahul's got to look deep within himself saying, should I have finished the game? And if he had finished the game, then we wouldn't be asking these questions. I mean, look at that run rate at the end. You cannot.
I mean,
lose
they didn't hit a boundary in the last 7 overs, so that says a lot in a T20
boundaries did
game.
they try to hit?
So yeah, so that's a good question actually. I think as you look at that run rate and you go 8.83, 6.5, and 3.83, and you've then got to ask yourself why is that going that way? And what my answer would be, it's a combination of conditions and caution, over cautious, in that we'll just get there. Whereas, and I keep saying this, and it might seem simplistic, right? And it's so often they say on commentary, it's easy to have an opinion without the responsibility of actually doing it, right? But we've seen with other teams that those teams that are happy to take the aggressive option are good to go. And no longer can you think, yes, it must be me who does it. And if I don't do it, nobody else will. You can't think like that. You've got to think in terms of time, right? So if you try and do it early and do the job early and you don't succeed, then at least the other guys have time to dig the team out of trouble. But if you leave it too late, then you don't leave them enough time. So you doubly put them in trouble and they then don't get over. You then don't manage to. It's a problem, right? Yeah. So you've got to make sure towards the beginning of the game, if you're chasing, if you're setting, you've got to try and do what you can then. Take the risks then to see what's possible. And if it's not, that's why they're 10 wickets.
Caution is a decoy in T20 cricket at the worst of times. It's the worst decoy. But this year, it's even worse with the impact sub.
Yes.
It means you have more batting. There is absolutely no excuse for easing up because you have the extra batter. The only reason you ease up is because you want your runs on the board.
But to be fair, he did well in the power play. So
exactly, he did well in the power play. We've seen so many instances this year of people who've done really well in the power play who start to ease up. And I don't know why you've got so much batting below. But this is a team sport. This is the one part of our game where the individual's contribution matters the least. But I think there is an obsession because all our lives we have been trained to look at individual contributions in Test cricket. Who scored the most runs? Who's got the most average? Who took the most wickets? We all measure a team sport by what the individuals did, but you cannot do that in T20.